Back in 2001, we had a call for service of a person down. Once officers got there, they found the body of a 45-year-old outside his residence, stabbed to death. We're actually arriving at the residence where it occurred back in January 21st of 2001.
Darío was a son, was a brother, was a father. He loved his daughter Monica. He loved her a lot. He was always talking about her, and also about his son in Chicago.
He was a good man. He was my dad.
He was very close with them. Él los quería mucho. He was always close to them. He was always in communication with them.
He was our little brother. He was a very joyful person to be with.
We were happy. We were a happy family. A very happy family. So all that I learned was that he had gotten stabbed, and I think I learned about it like later during the day. They had already flown my brother over to the trauma center in San Antonio.
He was able to call us to tell us, I'm going to the hospital. Somebody stabbed me on the back with the scissors. So go meet me there. So I went to go pick up my dad. Dad, let's go because something happened to him. So Dad and I went, and he was he was really bad because they gave him several stabs on the back with the scissors. So it happened at the park. The county park.
And then while I was just hearing, how he was coming along, he recuperated and everything, and so then he came back home after the recuperation, after living with my niece and her husband and my father over there in San Antonio.
But we didn't want it for him to come to Rio because we were scared. But he said, but I live over there, so I am going. And we were always keeping an eye on him, right? So that just to check and see how he was, if he needed anything. And he would say, yes, bring me groceries.
Okay, and he never mentioned to you
No.
who it was or who you thought? No.
He never mentioned anything as to who had done the incident.
He didn't look fearful. He was very brave also. And we would always tell him, watch your back, manito, watch your back. He said, they can't just come and do this, but they do it. I mean, they did it. So what can we do about it? He said, don't even worry about it. So that's how we left it. A neighbor told us that they heard the screamings, but they were scared to go out. They said that it happened like at 5 a.m, but they went out at 6 a.m. when it was already getting clear to go check what was going on. And that's when they saw him on the floor, on the ground.
They called me at the house. The renter called me at the house. I told her, hurry up and call the ambulance. I'm on my way. I just got to get dressed and I got to go. And my oldest son was with me. And me and my son and my husband came down all the way from Alto Bonito. We got there. My brother was already covered up. I come down crying, of course. I was all, shook up about it.
So from give or take on the photos, body would have probably been around this area. From what appears on the report, a neighbor at that time reported apparently her son had come out early in the morning, that Sunday morning, and ran back inside and told his mother that there was a man laying on the ground. She immediately notified law enforcement. Once officers arrived at location, that's where they discovered the male subject's body without life. We do know that there's a number of people at this residence the night before.
There was no fourth entry. When we went in the house, right, when they let us to go in, there was blood of his hands all over.
He was stabbed several times. I'm not sure how many times. Like I said, I've heard it was 49 times. I've heard it was 27, 50. I'm not sure. He ran out of the house and tried to get help. I think he didn't make it to the main house and tried to call 911, but he just died. He just fell to the floor. I was 14. I remember I was at home watching TV, and I heard my grandpa come in, and I heard him sobbing. Like, I heard him talking, and then I heard him just break down and crying. So I remember I put mute on the TV, and I was just listening to what he was trying to say. My door was closed to my room, and I just heard him crying and mumbling and just real sad. So I went outside, and my stepdad told me what happened. My mom and then my grandpa just looked at me and hugged me. And that's when I found out that my dad got murdered. They had stabbed him at my grandpa's residence, old residence. And I was in shock. It took me a while to actually come to the realization that he was gone. I was never going to see him. The last time I saw my dad, I was trying out for soccer in middle school, and he passed by with a friend of his, and he just screamed my name and waved at me, and I waved back and I smiled, and I just ran off to try out for soccer. He didn't get to see me graduate. He didn't even get married. He didn't get to witness all the milestones and accomplishments that I've done. He didn't get to meet my husband. He left me behind, and it's sad. About a year ago, 2 years ago, I was asked by a family member to see if they can reopen the case or if I could go to the Texas Rangers. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll ask. I did ask. I came and I talked to Mr. Solis.
This is a case that our department is interested in reopening. Like any other cold case, we are looking into the report, trying to figure out where detectives that had that case back in the day left off. It is very hard to take a case, especially this old. Most of the officers and investigators we had here were not working with the department then. Most of us were still in high school when this murder occurred.
We still can't forget what happened to him. It was very cruel, the way that it happened.
It's hard. It's still hard because I still think about him a lot.
It was not fair what they did, taking his life away. They left all of us without him and missing him so much until now.
We would appreciate very much if something would really get done about this case, because that was a really sad case with my brother.
I want to know why. Why did they have to go and kill him? Why did they have to go take a life away? They didn't only take away my dad, they took away my half-brother's dad and his kid's grandfather, my niece and nephew's grandpa. So they took away a brother to my aunts and uncles. They took a son away from my grandpa. My grandpa left this world not knowing what really happened to his son.
And we do ask our citizens if anybody has any information or has heard anything throughout the years about this case to contact our department and get justice, at least for the family.